Rodney Henry and Billy Williams are living the dream. Both are successful entrepreneurs, fathers, and loving husbands. Most importantly, they continue to move with passion, establishing new partnerships, all while staying focused on their priorities. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode of the Somebody Son podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Somebody Son podcast, where biting your tongue is never allowed. Young men battle with the pressures of manhood every day. Each episode, we tackle topics that focus on worth, actions, and relationships. Our goal is simple: help men win the war with themselves.
You like the vibe? You like it in here?
I do this shit.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
She
Congratulations, man. It's your fiance, right?
Wife, yeah.
Wife, yeah. She told me y'all coming up on a year, man. That's a blessing, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Amen, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure. No, I just appreciate y'all showing up, man. Especially, like, there's not a lot of content out there where you don't see dudes. Like, we try not to curse on there. I mean, we might have one every mess up, but, like, we try not to do that. But, like, to really be, like, in a room where a black man owned this building. You know what I mean? A black man owned this building. I'm sorry, a black man and his wife own this building. Let me be very clear. And you as a musician, you own everything you put out. That's why, did you notice when we posted your invitation, we had your music on there?
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I noticed.
Man. To be able to own your own music. Prince wouldn't even work with people who did not own their own masters.
Yeah.
So we've had glimmers of people trying to teach us ownership. And then Rodney, again, you and your family, like, your mom is, I don't know much about your pops, so I this isn't a knock on him, but like, I know your mom she well respected throughout the city, bro, like for what she's been able to do. Just, it is important for me to have both of y'all on the pod, and I appreciate a team that puts a emphasis on entrepreneurship, but like, I would love to hear both of your aspects. Like, I'm sure the entrepreneurial road has not been easy,
For sure.
but why do y'all keep pushing?
Hey, did we take our shot yet?
No, we
supposed to take a shot before we start going, right or wrong?
We can get one. We can get one.
Don't forget about that.
I got you.
Loosen up a little bit.
No, that's good. That's good. But like, for real though, like what made you get into it?
Well, I was a knucklehead, man. I was running around crazy. I had a mentor. He owned a couple of McDonald's himself.
Okay.
His name was Al Harris. And he said that a doctor and a dentist need to be digging in somebody or performing a surgery on somebody to be getting paid. He said, I'm going to be asleep and my drawers will keep opening and closing. McDonald's is something that you should look into. And so McDonald's is a trendsetter in this fast food industry. So I just felt like, why not take a stab into it? And my mom, she was the first female black owner in Richmond. So I want her legacy to live on. My brother, we just come from a family that always wanted more so we could be able to take care of our family. So it was something that made me want to dive into it and be in a situation to take care of my family and live freely, because a lot of people want to be owners and business owners and stuff like that, but they have no time. They're working themselves to their deathbed. I still have some free time here and there to enjoy myself with my friends, my family, and so forth and so on. So it was a path that I saw was feasible for me.
No, that's real.
That's dope. Yeah, for me, I guess the path to entrepreneurship really was born out of passion. I would say, like, music has just always been my passion. Grew up playing with my mom. My mom was a minister of music in church. She played piano, so I was playing with her every Sunday. Just grew to love, playing the drums and that sort of thing. And over time, started to take lessons. Really got into jazz music. I'm not really sure how. I mean, there's a lot of similarities into, like music from the church, Black Pentecostal church, and just jazz. There's just that, like, I guess you could say crossroads. But over time, just started to meet other people, started to play gigs, started to make money from it. So it was like, I wasn't really planning on making money from music. It was just something that sort of happened.
Yeah.
So from there, once I saw that it was like a viable career path, it just sort of happened. It was like, you get good and people see value in what you bring. They hire you. And from there, you know, you start doing local gigs. Word gets around, it's like, yeah, Billy's doing this, he can do this. Then, you know, just keep building from there. So from a local level to a regional level, national, then been blessed to tour internationally and, you know, just going from there.
Do you remember your first gig, brother?
I do remember my first gig. Well, at least what I consider to be my like first like official gig.
So tell me about, and I don't want to take over here.
No, this good. This good.
Tell me about your first paid gig and then your first is, because it's my passion, I want to do it.
Sure. My first passion gig was in church. It's like a small, you know, storefront type church. Mm-hmm. You know, like my mom playing on an upright piano that's out of tune. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But that's just kind of the vibe. And I loved my great-grandfather was actually a pastor. So that was like a real unique opportunity. Yeah. Because, you know, it's like my great-grandfather, the pastor, my family is kind of in the church. So we kind of run this whole whole vibe. So it's like I had the opportunity to really grow my gift in church. Yeah. So that was like my first like unofficial gig, just like having the opportunity to really grow my gift in a small sort of setting where there wasn't a lot of real pressure. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of support, you know, because it was all my family. But my first like paid gig, it was like a gig at a church in Norfolk on Granby Street. Wow. And it was like a jazz gig, but I remember being super nervous because it was with my teachers. Mm-hmm. So the people that were kind of like bringing me along in this whole thing. So that was, I remember being super nervous because I was still learning how to read music. I mean, they just kind of like threw me in the fire. They're like, yo, you got to read all these charts. We ain't gonna give them to you. We ain't gonna give you time to rehearse. You know, you got to learn them on the spot. But you know, I made my first $100. I was like, yo, all my homies was working for like $7.50 an hour. I was like, yo, I gotta keep practicing, you know, $100 in a couple hours. So yeah, that's what it was for me.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
I thought about you, Billy, for two reasons. The first one is the Disney movie that just came out.
Oh man.
My son made me watch it with him.
For sure.
I'm glad he did.
That was a great movie.
Black man as a musician. I don't think we've ever seen a black man as a musician in a Disney movie.
Come on, man.
And like the importance of being able to like teach my son, if he wants to be successful at being a musician, you don't have to be the rapper. You can actually be the musician. Mm-hmm. It's not a knock on rappers. So let's be very clear. Some of y'all out there are going to be like, oh, he knocking rappers. I don't knock rap. I don't knock anybody. But I do also see the importance of seeing folks like you. You're the closest thing I have to Harlem Renaissance. I mean, like, it's amazing that, you know, Chris and T got Nina Simone on the wall, Duke Ellington on the wall, County Cullen, Langston Hughes. But like, I never got to be raised around them, or like, I listened to their music, but I wasn't there. Yeah. Like, you my version of Coltrane, honestly. Because honestly, you're the closest. So when you drop a project or you say I'm featured on a project, that's why I play it.
I appreciate it.
Because I know you, that kind of proximity, so I appreciate that. The second reason I thought about you, though, is this importance of, like, community. I didn't grow up with you. You grew up in 7-5, right?
Right.
So I got introduced to you because of that man over there.
Right.
That was a connection?
For sure.
You're the connection.
Wow.
Saber.
Oh.
You told me they wanted a band at your place of business.
Yeah.
And that...
Oh, that's up. So, thank you, man.
He threw the alley. So tell me this. Tell me, how does that feel to have somebody that looked like you throw you an alley that will make corporate paper?
I know.
Doing what you love.
I remember that too.
Wow.
I appreciate that.
No problem, man.
Small world, man.
It feels great, man. I mean, it just shows that, you know, we're making progress. We're getting in the rooms that we weren't initially invited to.
Yeah.
So it was great. I mean, like you said, like to just kind of sort of meet in like a casual setting and then have like business come out of it. It was just like, oh man, this is beautiful. We all moving up on something that was just grew organically. So
why we don't do that enough? But go ahead.
I remember that because I put you onto that first event, and then you told me that I think the chief technology officer wanted you to play at her house, I believe. She had a house event. Did that ever happen?
She wanted house services?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I know you did the event that was actually at the facility, and then I feel like another event happened because I was sitting in urban farmhouse in Shockoe Bottom, and I was sitting there on my computer, and you hit me up and said, "Yo, Chris, where you at? You around?" I said, "Yeah, I'm at the farmhouse."
That's right.
And he walked in and he gave me an envelope, and I was like, "What's this?"
Yeah.
It was like $200-300, and I was like, "What happened?" He's like, "Yo, they booked me for another gig." and I'm just giving you like just showing love.
That was from that gig.
Oh, that was from the first one.
Yeah,
oh, I thought it was from another one.
So I don't know if the other joint, if it did happen, it might have been somebody else.
Yeah.
So the gig got called.
Okay.
That was from that.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
That's the booker's fee. You know, you booked the gig, you hooked me up.
I wasn't even expecting that. Man.
That's just good business.
That's what's up.
But he didn't do it to get paid, and so it goes back to my question before you. I love to pivot. Why don't we do that enough in our community? Like, what is it? Like, I'm glad y'all did it, right? But like, why don't we, Rodney, look, you're in real estate. First, you was in real estate when you got your McDonald's in your family. You got your own, your family has a nice McDonald's empire here. But you got Airbnbs now. You flipping houses. I seen you and Jerome posting that. Like, and you talked about, you gave Jerome his flowers on the gram for putting you on. This is a successful man owning a franchise, probably the largest franchise in the world as far as numbers is concerned in McDonald's. Yeah. You still found time to say thank you to somebody who taught you how to go flipping properties and renovations. Like,
I think that, back in the day, it was people wanted to one-up you. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't really want to yo, come on, I got you. Yeah. But it was a small percentage of us that did do that. And then some people just like, I just want to start separating myself and show that I'm that much better than you and not help their brother or sister out. And I think that we're turning the curve around that and saying, yo, man, Jerome Hood, my frat brother, he say, yo, whatever I got, you got. If whoever my contacts are is your contact. So I think that now we're getting to a point where I want to see everybody win.
Yeah.
And to the cost of no fee. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yo, hey, this is my broker. This is my general contractor. This is my real estate agent. And those things right there are going to help us. Get above that curve that we so-called crabs in the barrel thing. So I think that back in the day, it was like I want to one-up you, but now it's like I want to see everybody. Like to this day, like I might not even listen to somebody's thing, but I'm gonna repost it. I'm gonna buy black. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that because I want to see everybody win. Yeah, because you get to a point where it becomes jealousy. Like, damn, he doing this. You can't help me. Nah, I'm gonna help you. What you need? Yeah. If I don't know it, I'm gonna find somebody that can do it. And then sometimes you do get a little busy where you feel like, damn, I forgot about homie. And I hope you don't feel like I'm crapping on him or nothing, but I circle back around. I hope ain't no hard feelings, but life does happen. Sure. Family, business, things like that. Yeah. And then with the McDonald's thing, I want to correct it. McDonald's make their money off real estate. So we don't own the land, they own the land. Okay. Oh. So we're leasing the land from them. Yeah. We're franchisees, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So McDonald's is a smart business. And I remember one time I asked my field consultant, I said, why can't we just buy the land? They said, you can. It ain't gonna be called McDonald's though. You call it whatever you want to call it, it ain't gonna be called McDonald's though. Wow. That's how McDonald's make their money.
That's funny, man. I watched the movie The Founder. Ray Kroc.
Yeah.
And adversity is even how that came about. Because he was the business development guy, right?
He was like that liaison. Yeah. And then he just, go ahead, I don't want to cut you off.
Nah, I don't know McDonald's. You ain't cutting me off. I don't make no money off no cheeseburgers. Well, you making money right now. Like you said, the doctor and the dentist got to play with bodies to get paid. You ain't playing with no bodies in the register ringing. You tell the story.
Well, he was selling what Sundays, like the Sunday machine things, right? Yeah. And then he met with the guys. And they had what they didn't realize what they had was the name. Mm-hmm. He said, you don't understand what you got. It's the name, McDonald's. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? So he ended up becoming partners with them, and end up kind of shitballing them, like doing them wrong. I'm talking, it was so wrong on all aspects that I kind of went to my mom and I said, dang, I didn't know he was like that. Yeah. But and that goes to my thing. Like, I want to one-up you. Mm-hmm. I don't want us to work together. I want to be the man in charge. I want to be the one they look to. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah, Ray Kroc was a passionate person. He knew what he wanted. he saw where you lacked at and where he can take advantage of you at.
Yeah.
And he ended up, being the guy.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback on two things you said. First thing is bringing somebody else up, pulling them up, and life happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta have to dig yourself into a hole, for example, or go lock yourself in a room and study and learn. You had to learn how to read music on the fly. You were tested. All your skills to be tested at one time, right? Sure. You kind of have to go lock in. Me with real estate, I researched real estate for years, and I missed brunches and day parties and all that because I was in the library, I was in the coffee shop reading. Mm-hmm. So sometimes that the level of effort it takes to get your knowledge base down for you to take those calculated risks and take those chances, it requires a lot more time that I was willing to give to anything else besides that. And now I'm finally starting to see the fruits of that, right? So I definitely get how life happens, but it's all hopefully for progress. But second thing is for support. This isn't even something that I was even interested in, being on a podcast and sharing my story and being vulnerable. But I love that brother right there. Like Donald's my brother.
Good brother.
He this is something that he believes in, and I believe in it because I believe in him. Yeah. And I'm willing to not just take the space, not just, hey, you can use my space, but be able to open up and be vulnerable and tell my story and connect with other people because this is something that he believes in. And sometimes it's bigger. I mean, likes, comments, shares, all that's important. But sometimes you have to put yourself in it, right? And this is one way I can feel like I put myself into a friend's dream that I support because this is not me, man. I'm usually the behind the scenes guy. I don't want to be on camera, but I think if we continue to see where we can offer our support, our services, our encouragement to our friends, to our family, this is how we can grow as a community. Yeah. And I think it's important that we highlight that because a lot of times, like you mentioned, it is like unknown competition, right? Just because I'm trying to get ahead, not ahead of you, just to get ahead in life. We're thinking about, we talked about it in other episodes where normally when we are on our path to creating wealth or, creating a lifestyle that we're trying to have, we have to pull up our parents, our grandparents. I know they talk about that on House of the Athlete. We have to pull up.
Yeah, I am athlete.
The money don't go up, it goes down.
It goes down. So we have to do that, and that's a huge responsibility. I know
stress, anxiety, all that.
All of that, and
we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
Particularly for people that look like us. Black men don't talk about stress and anxiety enough.
Yeah. For a few reasons. I think one of the reasons is sometimes we make it look easy. I think sometimes.
Do we have a choice?
That's a very good point. Does
Rodney have a choice if his Airbnb got a problem? He got to make sure that's good. Mom Duke's on vacation, so he got to make sure that the local empire keep going. Yeah. Wifey pregnant, so he got to make sure her cravings is met. She getting attention. His son still need daddy at home. He going through puberty. He got to make sure he good. Does he have the luxury of doing that? Billy on the road playing for some of your favorite artists. He got a wife at home. He got to make sure she good. Social injustice is happening. She's scared about letting her baby even walk out in the middle of the street. And her daughter their daughter still got to feel encouraged and loved as a young black woman. Because if not, then she might have personal issues, insecurity issues. And she might go try to find that love. When are we going to talk about that?
Yeah, that's real.
I was in Charlotte. I wanted to go holler at my man Fab and Twan, and we was in a little cigar spot, and we said, we got wife, business, kids, and then you try to have some time for yourself and do a social life. How do you juggle all those things?
Preach.
And like you said, do we have time to whine? Do we have time to pout? It's like, let's just get it done.
I like how you put wife first though, man, because I know for me, I credit a lot of just even taking the risk that I have for the family in general. I didn't own any commercial real estate before I met my wife. Once I met her, that's when we started taking those steps together. So how do we prioritize it? It's difficult, but I like how you were prioritizing because it was kind of how I see things now.
My wife is my partner, man. I got some boys out there that, they're just the one. I say, my mom's always told me, your wife is your partner. She know when you hurting. She know when you up. You know when you down. It ain't more. You're not giving more than she's giving in no aspect. You know, you may be the breadwinner, but it's matched on the other side with the kids and the house cleaning and all that and all that.
Emotional labor. There's a term for that.
I'm sorry. Thank you, brother.
Emotional labor.
You know, and my wife is my partner. That's my franchise partner. That's my dog. That's you know, she because and not to be long-winded. When I met her, I would be spending money like crazy. I want to get Balenci this, Gucci. She'd be like, if that's where you're gonna spend your money at, we got a problem. Yeah. Because if you're the person that I want to be with, I don't want to be worrying about what he's doing with his financial stuff.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? She's like, that ain't that serious. It's not.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not saving this, you're not doing this. If you're not trying to better our future, then you worry about what direction you taking us in. And that was from my wife.
So your wife challenged you financially?
Challenged me, bro. Like literally, like, if this is what you're gonna be doing, we're gonna have a problem. Because how you gonna lead this household and you spending dilly this, you spending dilly that, that I don't feel comfortable with you raising this house, being a man in this house, and you making simple buys and doing dumb stuff. You gotta do this trip, you gotta buy this, you do this. She was like, that don't work for me. And it doesn't impress me.
So shout outs to you. What's your wife's name?
Fiore.
Fiore. Shout out to Fiore. Number one. Fiore. Number two, though, like, that should be a challenge for guys out there that are either single or you could be married. That conversation, while I appreciate it, it shouldn't be required. A lot of times, men want titles, but they don't want to live up to the responsibility. You want to be the head of the house? You got to do this. I commend you for pivoting. And you know, you my man, you my old head, so I appreciate you. But like, that shit, it doesn't have to be that way. For the next Rodney Henry's coming up, you shouldn't require a Fiore to have that conversation. Now, I'm glad she did, because you my mans, and I appreciate you, and I love you, and I want your family to do well. But at the same time, dudes want to have girls, but they don't want to be husbands. You want a legacy, you want a kid, but you don't want to lead nothing. That's a problem.
Absolutely.
That's a problem. So, number one, kudos to you. I'm going to give you your flowers while you still smell them. Shout outs to you for making the pivot and for doing what was required. And shout out to your queen for even having that conversation.
And you accepting that feedback. Shout out to that, man.
Yeah.
That could have been a rift in the relationship.
Because, you know, as you mature and you want to continue to grow with your significant other, you have to listen to those feedback and that communication. When you land in the bed, yo, babe, what can I do different? What's keeping you up at night that's bothering our relationship? And you really got to listen to that. You do. I mean, because you come from a person like me, you know, college hill, life of the party, trying to live up to things that, you know, sometimes I was hurting, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still living up to this lifestyle because that's how they view me. You know what I'm saying? I was telling my man, I was like, yo, we used to go to DC, go to Love. We was waiting on our direct deposit to hit to buy a drink at the bar. Wow. But nobody knew that because, yo, Rodney in DC, I was broke as a joke trying to, you know, do it. Trying to do it. And then also trying to be like this, yo, I got you. Let me pay for the dinner. Let me get this room for you. Let me, you know, that stuff when you're not financially stable and you just paycheck to paycheck, that joint hurts, you know what I'm saying? So God slowed me down to meet my wife for a reason. You know, because while I always had money, it wasn't money for the future. It was money for right now.
Your mentality shifted too.
Absolutely.
I told you that off camera. So I don't want to rehash it. But your mentality has shifted. I personally have benefited from your growth. And you know that. So I appreciate that. Billy, you're raising a woman. No, I'm sorry. Let me rewind that. That's not right. You're growing a woman. Because I don't believe in raising kids. I believe you grow kids. For sure. You raise cattle. You're growing a woman. With a phenomenal woman. Anybody who ever met your wife knows she not.
Shout out to Nicole.
And that's a whole other thing. Just a little side note. Shout out to Nicole. I do want to do a pause. Because all of us, this is the first time I think everybody on the pod has a significant other and or married. And we all married with families. This is the first time. Yeah, let's toast to that, man. Let's toast to that. This has never happened.
History being made.
Yeah, this has never happened, man.
You gotta look in the eyes too.
For sure.
Yeah, but to be the kind of men that we are and this enjoy some of the achievements the Creator has blessed us with, I do think it requires a certain type of significant other. And clearly, I know your lady, and I know your lady, but clearly your lady not afraid to have those conversations either. Neither is mine, which is why I appreciate
Neither
it.
is mine.
But like, how are you intentional in growing your daughter? Because your daughter, how old is your daughter now?
She'll be 4 in August.
She's 4.
Yeah.
Right, so she nowhere near dating. She still got
She's
36
never gonna
years.
date.
She got 36. I got your back, bro. When your daughter sees at 40, she good.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just playing. But like, how do you find yourself like making sure you're intentional in growing her and what you allow her to see, what you don't allow her to see, or what kind of man you want her to see you being, or what kind of man you don't want her to see you being?
Man, for me, like my daughter, man, I'm just always in her face. Like, I'm always making sure that she has what she needs in terms of love from her father. You know what I mean? I'm going to make sure that she knows that her daddy loves her. Mm-hmm. And also that in terms of like what she needs to see from a man, I would say, I mean, she's still so young, so it's still like a lot, you know, to really consider. But I would just say like the biggest thing is that I'm just really intentional about spending time with her. Whether it's just like, you know, you want to go outside and play, but, you know, she's starting to get homework, things like that from daycare. It's like, yeah, spending time with you, you know, drawing your letters and things like that. But for me, it's just really, really being intentional about our time together right now. I think as she continues to grow, you know, what she needs will continue to change. But, you know, and there's still a lot that I'm learning about fatherhood. You know, she's only 3.5, going on 4 years old. So I would say the main thing right now, just being in her face as much as I can. You know what I'm saying? That's crucial for me.
So the time matters?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, especially coming from, you know, sort of my background as being a musician, like touring a lot. When she came, she changed a lot for me. Like, I could have predicted, you know, I knew my situation was going to change. Mm-hmm. Like in terms of, you know, my responsibility and what I was going to be, you know, my time and things like that. But I couldn't have predicted how much I would change when she came.
Mm.
Wow.
That was like the biggest change. Because the things that I prioritized, I didn't prioritize anymore. So it's like now, it's like pre-Billy, that's my daughter's name. It was like, that wasn't my pick either. That was my wife's pick. But
What do you spell it?
B-I-L-L-I-E. Yeah.
I got a sister named Billy too.
Yeah, it is. So like pre-Billy, it was like music. It was like all drums. It was like, yo, I'm in it. I'm super, and I still am to a certain degree. Like I'm super passionate about, you know, what I do and what I feel I've been put on the earth to do, you know, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But when she came, it was like, man, if I got an hour and it's like, it's between practice and her wanting to go outside on the bike, I'm with her. That's just where I'm at. You know what I mean? So just being in her face and being super intentional about my presence in her life is huge for me. It's key for me.
I love it.
Man, that's powerful, man. There's a guy, I live in Atlanta now, there's a guy there named Jesse Itzler, and he talks about, he has 4 kids, which is, you know, shout out to him and his wife, Sarah, for even being able to manage 4 kids is quite an undertaking. But what he talked about was this idea that your time, once you sign up to be a parent, you no longer own your time.
At all.
You don't own your time. He said, if I'm tired, I gotta sleep when they sleep, but I'm not sleeping when they want to play. So like you said, and I didn't know y'all were gonna go here, but this is phenomenal. Like you said, your sons, they want to play 2K, cool, then we play in 2K. And you said you want to be in your daughter's face. I think a lot of times, even some of the dads I see, and I'm guilty of this, so this isn't a judgment call. I'm guilty of this when my son was younger, which is why I feel like I can challenge other fathers to do the move differently, because I had to grow from this. But like, I used to like rationalize, oh, I'm networking, or I'm working late so I can get the next promotion. No. Like, you can still work when he sleep. So my son, like, we play the video games. I'm at the practices. I'm on the stream. Like, right now it's a pandemic, so he's still going to class. But like recently they had, for a week of Easter, they did chapel every day at his private school. So I'm joining the chapel every day.
Wow.
Because they ask parents to join, and I'm like, look, I'm not gonna sacrifice time that especially time he can remember. You and I are at a different place because your son and my son, they can remember things now. Your baby doesn't remember nothing yet, and your daughter, you said she's 3.5. She about to start remembering. 1 to 2, she don't remember none of that.
Right.
But like, that time matters.
It does.
And one of the scariest things my cousin Sean told me, he said, you don't know what your child is going to remember. So you got to make the most of the time because you don't know. Like, me and you had a conversation today. You don't even remember that moment was as powerful as it was for me, right?
He told me.
But it was. Just think about your kid. Your kid has that every day, and they soaking up, they sponges. So I applaud y'all for being present. So many times men are focused on provision. Y'all are providing phenomenally as entrepreneurs, but you're being present.
But to piggyback off that, it was something that me personally, I had to grow into. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, like coming from my background, like being a foreign musician, you're always gone. It's like your first, like similar to what you were saying about networking. It's like you're trying to make sure that your family has, you're trying to provide. So certain opportunities you have to, just be available and take advantage of certain things. And it's like, I ain't gonna be able to, I'm not gonna be able to be home all the time. And I come from a household, my father's military too. So it's like, he was out 6 months all the time, 3 months here, 2 months missing Thanksgiving, missing Christmas, but he was doing what he had to do to ensure that we had what we needed to have. And I think a part of it for me is that he did that, or at least what I feel like I'm growing into is like he did that so we didn't have to do it as much, or at least that we have a choice in terms of how we choose to navigate parenthood. I'm one of 3, so when I say we, that's a reference in my siblings. I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest by 8 and 10 years. My sister is 8 years, so I was the surprise. My brother's 10 years older than me, and my sister's 8 years. So it's one of those things that I've had to grow into too, because it was like for me, it's like, I got a gig, I got to be out. I'm out for a week. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know this is such and such is going on, but I got to do this. I got to do this. But at a certain point, like I said, like I couldn't have predicted how much I would change in terms of what was important to me. It's like,
this is interesting, man. As we, go through the season and go on these episodes, I'm hearing a lot about fatherhood, and I know last season I talked about me not having a father and how it's still impacting me to this day. I'm almost 33 years old. I still feel the ripple effects of not having a father, and I'm still trying to work through what does fatherhood look like for me. But I will say, from the men I've come across in life and the men I come across in this podcast, I can see what good fatherhood looks like, and I can see the importance of it at different capacities, right? Whether it be there every day, whether it be there sometimes, whether it be nurturing or, a little bit colder, whatever that is, I can see the greatness in people that have had those experiences, and it's in turn shaping how I want to be. Like when I'm thinking about, we plan to start having children in the next few years, I'm planning like how to be intentional about the time I'm spending with my kids who aren't born yet, right? Mm-hmm. And this is a common theme. It seems to come up a lot, but I just want you guys to know it's important for me to hear these kind of things because I take it serious. I take parenthood and fatherhood very seriously. And I just consider it a blessing to be able to know there are other, Black men who are already moving in this type of capacity, being great fathers, and you guys are inspiring me. So I really appreciate, just from man to man, I appreciate you guys for being good fathers because you guys are setting the tone for me, man. I appreciate that, man. For sure. I think we should take a drink to that.
It's important, man. It's very important.
Yeah, man.
Take a drink to that.
Eye to
eye. Gotta have the eye, right? In Europe, that's the thing.
Eye to eye.
Like if you toast and you don't look somebody in the eye, it's like bad luck. Somebody is bad luck or something.
For sure, yeah.
Part of my problem with media, bro, is it's scripted. And so we create this false sense of reality. And so people think that's what it looked like. Instagram is not what relationships look like. That's not what relationships look like.
Not at all.
Entrepreneurship is not driving around in a Maybach. That's
not.
That's not it.
It's not.
Flipping houses is not a bunch of dudes going on Instagram and showing you 5 and 6 figure checks. That's not what it looks like.
It's not.
Are those things also a part of it? Absolutely. Is that 90%, 80%, 70%, or even the majority of what that looks like? Absolutely not. That's not what it looks like. Marriage is not always pictures on your anniversary, Valentine's Day, and the day you married her. No. Marriage is, bro, what are you doing financially? I need to be able to trust you. Can you guide my household? Because I have security when you're guiding my household with a certain level of prudence.
Absolutely.
That's what a relationship look like. And a lot of times, like my problem in media, and we about to be all types of disruptive in media. Like, so if you comfortable in the way media is right now, you might not like somebody's son or what Gravy is about to do. Because we about to be all types of disruptive. But like, we have to start giving people what reality looks like. And that's why I'm glad you stepped out to handle your Airbnb. That's good. That's what an Airbnb look like. It's not just cash flowing $500 a month. That's not what it look like. It's not. And people think that it's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not what it looks like, bro.
Yeah. Simple, little issue, but we solved it.
That's good. That's good. So but I am gonna let y'all, you know what I mean, let the people know. So real estate, you got in the flips. Shout out to Jerome Hood. We both know him.
Shout out Jerome Hood.
Yep.
Shout out Adam Vaughn. Shout out Mitt. I want to shout out those people for sure. Because those were people that I was shadowing on Instagram. Especially Mitt. Adam's my brother. Hood's my brother. And I was on conversations with them day and night.
Yeah.
What it look like, what it tastes like.
Yeah.
What's the good look like, what's the bad look like.
Yeah. But, so tell me a little bit about your real estate portfolio. How many rentals? How many?
So I have done 2 flips so far. Thank you, Jesus.
There you go.
Flips are headache. As you know, man, me and my general contractor, both of them are like my brothers. We don't almost went to war, you know. Cause it ain't peach and cream what you see on HGTV. It ain't like that all the time.
Yeah.
It's about, bro, this is the budget and we here.
Wow.
How do we get this back down here?
Yeah.
But God willing, we end up working together and figure out, you know, how to get it done. And both turned out great properties. I have a rental property on the south side, and then I have an Airbnb downtown.
So you did buy and hold on both of them?
So rentals, buy and hold.
Yep.
Airbnb is a little different. I do my research. I look at you know, YouTube. I look at Instagram. There's a guy named Mr. 2 Weeks Out, and he got this.
He in Atlanta. Yeah.
I love that guy, man. I never met him. I love that guy. We got a 4K pathway to success or something like that, and I paid for his course. And he said you can do corporate housing. You know, apartment places have corporate housing.
Yeah, relocations. Yeah.
Comes furnished. Get your cleaning lady in line. You can list that. That's what I did. I was nervous about it.
Which firm do you work with? Like Lexicon?
I'm not gonna tell the firm.
Oh, okay, I got you. Say no more. Say no more.
You know what I mean? But,
some things we gotta keep secret from y'all.
Yeah. But offline is whatever.
Yeah.
But so I got with this young lady, awesome lady. I told her what I was trying to do. So we have corporate housing. Paid the deposit for the corporate housing. Fixed it up. Well, it was already fixed up. I just put some extra things in there, like cleaning supplies. So when my clean lady come, she can just knock it out and be done with it. So I listed it. The first day I had 4 reservations, bro.
Wow.
You know, 2 days later I had 2. I mean, the next day I woke up, I had 2 more. You know, I made like, you know, $850 in 2 days. Well, reserved $850 because they don't pay you till they check in and out. But it was $850 reserved 2 days.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Insane, bro.
So you talked about this. I lived in corporate housing. So did he. He lived in corporate housing abroad. I lived in corporate housing in Houston and Atlanta for 18 months.
Wow.
Somebody got a bag.
A mean bag.
I saw what they were charging. We're going to talk offline. That's crazy. That's
a
crazy.
mean bag.
So bought two properties, flipped both of them. One's Airbnb, one's corporate housing.
No. So 2 properties that I flipped those.
Sold them.
So one was in Richmond over there by Bird Park.
Yep.
Okay. Oh wow.
Oh, if you ever see a property over there in the area, buy it. Wow. It's gonna sell.
That's free game, by the way.
In 10 days.
Yeah.
Had a awesome realtor. Her name was Linda Forum, sweetheart. She said, and so this is my first time getting into it, right? So I'm like, yo, Linda, I'm not doing that. It's too much money. She grabbed me by the shirt. She said, you don't know what you got to miss right here. This is a gold mine. Wow. You need to buy this property. So I felt like, man, like you trying to play me, like you trying to chump me, like. She said, I'm telling you. Bought the property for $160. We put about $140 plus into the house. Sold the house for $450. God willing, and this is, but
Can you tell the people what the returns look like? 160, 140, that's 300. You sold it for how much?
$450.
So what was the prop? Oh, okay. Simple math, people.
Well, and anybody can do it. Mm-hmm. I got with a hard money lender because I didn't want to take all the risks. Amen. And it was my first time doing it. Amen. I got a great hard money lender, man. I give you guys the information if you want them. They charge 10% first 4 months. Each month after that, they go up 2%. End up paying about 14%. I walked away with a
nice bag.
A nice bag, you know what I mean?
You didn't spend it on designer afterwards either.
No, absolutely not. You know what I bought?
Fiore, what's up?
You know what? The biggest thing that I bought off that, I bought, because I'm in the urban cycling group, and we riding bikes like crazy. I bought a bike. I paid $1,500 for it, and then I bought some carbon fiber wheels. I paid about another $500. That was my biggest expense, bro. Wow. $2,000.
There you go.
It's crazy how life has changed. Yeah. And then so my second property, I bought it, and so my general contractor in Richmond was Face J. People know him.
Shout out to Face J. Yeah.
Shout out to Face J. People know him from throwing parties and so forth and so on. But this guy wears many hats. He does everything, and he did the house very, very, turned out awesome job. But we got into it a couple of times. My second property is in Newport News. That's where I'm from. Mm-hmm. I want to do a property where I was from. So.
I seen that one. Yeah, that's the one I think you and Jerome.
No, I did all mine by myself.
No, I'm saying I think that's the one you gave him the shout out.
No, that was the first one.
Oh, that's the first one.
That was the first one.
Okay.
That was the first one. Yeah, all mine are yellow doors. You see a house that got a yellow door, it's probably mine. And so I did that. I wanted to do one back home. It was uptown Newport News. That's where I'm from. We had like a waterfront property close to Fort Eustis. Bought the house for $200. We put I put 66 of the hard money into it, and I put about another 20 plus in my own money into it. Mm-hmm. Sold the house for $385. Mm. Good return on that too as well.
Yeah, that's a great return.
So McDonald's is the meat and potatoes. Mm-hmm. That's where the legacy gonna live on. That's where my mother legacy is gonna be. I'm gonna take care of my kids. I want to make sure my kids are wealthy. Mm-hmm. But you always have different sources of income. Mm-hmm. Because we went through a dark cloud at McDonald's, where we was nervous, because at McDonald's is a high turnover business. Yeah, yeah. And we got to a point where we couldn't staff the restaurant. Oh, wow. Me and my mom was in there on fries. My brother was on the grill. And I was handing out orders. It got that bad. Mm. And, McDonald's was coming to us about, hey, what's going on, yada, yada, yada. And we were probably one of the first people to say, hey, it's an issue with staffing. Mm-hmm. We need to come together and figure this thing out. We end up not seeing eye to eye. And you don't even know this.
I don't.
We sold all the stores in Richmond. We bought some stores in Charleston, South Carolina. Okay. So we relocated because it was getting to a point where I felt like our employees had us by the balls. You know, we were spending $500 a month in Uber just to get them to work.
Wow.
You know, even though we were paying them, we was into a point where, hey, we need to pay Uber, we need to get them to work, with yada, yada, yada. So, you know, and then they looked at us like they would put us on the schedule. We like,
Pardon me?
wow. But you being a franchisee, you gotta do things, you gotta do certain things. So
fill in the gap.
And I got to a point with my mom and my brother, and I was just like, hey, this I don't see it getting no better. Yeah. I don't.
I appreciate you being vulnerable enough to
I want
share
to.
that story.
I'm never afraid to be vulnerable. Yeah. I'm never afraid to show you where I wasn't good at. And I'm never afraid to show you where my wins was at either, brother.
But that's a balance though. Like
need that.
As a black man, we don't balance that.
Yeah.
You could have just sat there and told us about all your wins in real estate. I was doing the math. So we gonna definitely talk afterwards. We definitely gonna talk, because you know how I am about the bag, so we gonna talk.
Absolutely.
But you could have just left it there. Mm-hmm. For you to be able to talk about I was on fries, my mom on the grill, you and your brother and your mom actually working this, that's what entrepreneurship looks like. Yeah. And I'm glad you're not giving people a false sense of reality. Mm-hmm. Like I genuinely appreciate that. Now I will say this, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about the yellow doors. So I did put these on for my guy, for my geyser. I definitely caught these for my guy. I only got yellow on nowhere else.
Yes,
put these on for you, man. Shout out to Chris Davis and the family at New Balance.
Talk to him.
Yeah, these were for you, man. I appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that, man. What I love about this, like just talking to y'all in this conversation, just period, and I'll leave it here. What I love about this is, regardless of your successes or life's lessons, because it's not a failure if you learn from it, it hasn't prevented you all from moving forward. Mm-mm. It hasn't prevented you all from moving forward. And your kids are going to appreciate that. Yeah. There's other men, Chris, look, I'm even learning from that. I didn't know that. So you 4 properties in now.
4 properties in.
Sitting next to you is 2 properties.
Talk to him.
Including the building you sitting in.
Bless him.
You know what I mean?
Some slight.
Billy, if Billy don't got properties or he think about it, he about to get into it now.
I know what to talk to.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, sure.
Which is amazing, man. That's phenomenal. And you've inspired me too. You don't know this, bro.
Talk to me.
I did 3 properties last year, bro. Ooh. We got 3. We living in one. We got one new construction.
Can you share?
We got 2 flips.
Okay.
We close on the 30th of this month.
Okay.
I'm flying out to Austin.
Amen.
As a result of that.
Amen.
But I just saw you in Hood getting to this bag, and my man Chris was just in my ear about just studying real estate. A lot of my real estate moves I've gotten from him, but like he'll find people online. Mr. 2 Weeks Out, shout out to him. The Asian guy out of Seattle.
Last name Nguyen, I believe.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin his name, but he's phenomenal. Independence, was it Henry? Independence Realty Group. Yep. He another guy that's killing it. Rashad Bilal, Troy Millins, Earn Your Leisure. Mm-hmm. Those dudes.
Earn Your Leisure, yo.
MG Mortgage guy.
People. This the hook on that. When I first started watching Earn Your Leisure, I'm sorry.
No, you good.
When I first started Earn Your Leisure, I was just like, I went back to them. They hip you to mad stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Big game.
Yeah.
But I want to go to you and say, yo, and to both of y'all, give me some of y'all horror stories with real estate. Because people think, like you said earlier, oh, yo, my man just flipped this. He got a big bag. Bag was decent. I'm not gonna lie.
Came with a journey, though.
But it came with a journey.
Yeah. My biggest joint, bro, we were looking at one of the most prized areas in Atlanta is this place called Buckhead.
Yep.
I found a home for $400,000. I was gonna buy the joint and renovate it. I took one of the guys in my Bible study, which is a very big part of how I view life now, just because I'm very rooted in my faith. So I took him out there. He's been building for 25 years. He's from upstate New York. His bags are crazy. His horror stories are crazy, but so he took me out there. He was like, Donald, you can't flip this property and live in it. I said, what do you mean? It's in Buckhead. He's like, I don't care where it's at. You can't there's so much work that needs to be done here. Your wife is going to be super uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And you're going to hear about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, I've been married for over 30 years. That's not the way to go. And Garrett knows this guy. His name is Rocco. He's inside our Bible study together. Rocco talked me out of making a prideful decision. I started looking at it. He said, you need to go make sure your wife is settled before you get in the flips. Cool. And I got a mentor here who'd been in my ear about real estate. So I actually felt like I was behind. Mm-hmm. Like I felt like there's too much free game I've been receiving that I'm not doing something. Anyway, I found a home. I wanted they wouldn't sell me the home. I told the developer, I was like, look, I want to buy the home. There's a new construction home. So she didn't have no insecurities about the home. They ended up selling the house to somebody else. He went on vacation. Another realtor came in, sold the house. And I was like, yo, y'all said I was going to get this house. They sold it. I was pissed, livid.
Oh, yeah, that.
But God has a plan. Went to a different neighborhood.
Talk about that. Like how many houses you put an offer on you ain't get, brother?
I didn't put the offers in, but
okay.
I had been... How many houses did I think I was going to get that my wife got excited about? And I think that's even worse than putting in an offer because at least when you put in an offer, it at least feels like a reality.
Absolutely.
Before that, it's just a dream. Absolutely. And every time she had a dream, it's getting dashed. Mm-hmm. Right? And as a man who prides himself on trying to be the superhero in the family, there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do to tell her, the home you just got excited about and you've already started decorating, someone else is going to live in that home. There's nothing I could have done. That hurt, right? So I kept feeling like I was getting our hopes up and then it would be dashed. God had a different plan. We go to a different neighborhood. They said, Mr. Knight, your wife can pick out all the trimmings, It won't be finished until March of 2021. This was last year. My goal was only to rent inside of Atlanta for 1 year because I was in corporate housing when I first got there. Then I got out and moved into an apartment. So I'm like, yo, we're going to have to rent for more than 1 year. I'm not delivering on my word. I'm like, y'all, as a guy who prides himself on like winning, I was losing and I could see the visible side effects on my wife. Cause you want our family to come in. We live in a different state. They flying in. You got an apartment. You can't even put the whole family up. Like what you doing, bro? Mm-hmm. So for me, those are the losses. I didn't have like the rejected offers or anything, but I had that. And to me, cause I haven't been on the other side, I'm not gonna say which one's worse, but like looking your wife in the face and knowing there's nothing you could do about changing something that she really wanted, that hurts. Right? God had a different plan. We home for July 4th, middle of the pandemic. And I get a call from a real estate agent. He said, Donald, the home your wife picked out, I have already completed. The house is already built. Nobody's lived in it. It's the pandemic. They can't close.
That's been saving a lot of people.
They can't close. I remember talking to you. I know where you work. You already showed me what you make. Can you come look at the home? I said, man, I'm in Virginia. I can't look at the home. Can you FaceTime me?
Absolutely.
He FaceTimed me. Mm-hmm. Look at the home. Cool. What about your wife? I said, take pictures and send it to me. Mm-hmm. I never forget it. I walk into my mother-in-law on the first floor of their house. I walk in their house. I'm like, look, here's the pictures from the home. Do you want the home? She's like, Donald, we never even seen the home. I said, but he said it's everything you picked out. She was like, but I ain't seen the home. Yeah. And she got all this baggage of, you done got me hyped. Mm-hmm. It didn't happen, bro. For real.
Yeah.
He said, she's like, she talked to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was like, if it's everything you picked out, leap. We called my mother, we called my father-in-law, we called my dad. We took the leap. We bought a house we hadn't even seen, bro. We didn't walk into the house until the inspection on the day of closing.
What was your prayers like?
What was my prayer? Bro, I'm talking about me, big fast. Garrett can vouch. He's been on some of these fasts with me. Long story short, bro, they needed somebody to close in 30 days so the guy didn't lose his earnest money in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah. We closed in 30 days. August 11th, we closed.
Amen.
The beauty behind it is she got what she wanted and some. And God did it in his own way. Less than 60 days later, we bought 2 more houses in Austin.
Wow.
And we started renovating those. We closed on those on April 30th. And the numbers there, we're going to talk offline. But it's closer to your Bird Park situation.
Absolutely.
Shout out to my partner, Tony Livers. But God is good, man.
Great.
I'm going through my turmoil right now. So we got this property. We saw this one first. We loved it. It was in a bit of a different condition. So we did a lot of work in here. Some of it on our own. Some of it we contracted out. But we saw this property first. We liked it. However, we wanted like more open space. So we saw a warehouse not too far away. The reason we targeted Petersburg for 2 reasons. 1, price points were affordable. We can get a lot more space, so a lot more bang for your buck. And 2, there's a community here that needs resources like creative space. There are a lot of people with talent who don't have a place to use it. Mm-hmm. We wanted to be involved in the community, right? So we saw a warehouse on Washington Street. Everything looked good up until the inspection. We got a few pieces of feedback from the inspection we need to get adjusted. At this time, I'm working out of New York. So I'm back and forth between Virginia and New York. I needed to get a structural engineer to take a look at some of the support beams for the ceiling because it's 15,000 square foot warehouse. So the contract's supposed to be over on a Friday. The inspector wasn't able to come in until that following Tuesday. So I called my agent. I said, hey, is there any way the seller can give us 3 more days just so I can get a quote? If I know how much this is going to cost, we can decide if we're going to move forward or not. Yeah. And they said no. What? So backtrack, we got approved for the financing. We're trying to close on something, right? Because we have a certain amount of time. Go back to my agent. This is still available. So we get this, right? This is fine. So this is not too much of a horror story, but this is one of the properties we have. The first property we had was 7 acres of land in North Carolina. It's about a mile away from Elon University, right? It's one house, pretty much dilapidated, and it's just land all around it.
Elon, North Carolina.
Yeah, Elon, North Carolina, yep. Burlington, so it's kind of in between Greensboro and Raleigh. Exactly. Yep. There's recruitment. So we've been through the struggle. There were people who were living in the house, and we had to unfortunately displace them because I don't want to be a slumlord. Mm-hmm. 1, and then 2, they didn't pay. They had an agreement with the previous owners to pay the taxes. They didn't. We were able to acquire the property just off the back, pay taxes because of the agreement we had with the new owner. So we got it for a steep discount, right? Mm-hmm. So going back and forth, getting it listed, working with a couple different brokers to see if we can get the property sold as a commercial space, for commercial. And it took a while. There were some things happening in the area, and then the pandemic hit. So actually, we were recording one of the episodes for season 1, and I had to hop out and take a call because we had a potential offer on it. And he said, we had a potential offer that I was supposed to hear back from that day. He called me and said, due to the pandemic happening, they're pretty much pulling out. So we had to pretty much sit on that property for another year. Now we finally have it under contract now, right? So
when you close? Set to
close May 6th. Mm. Now the issue that we're having is I want to do a 1031 exchange to avoid paying any of the capital gains tax. So if you know 1031 exchange, shout out to the tax code. We want to do 1031 exchange. We identified a property that's about 8 minutes from here. It's auto garage, and it's on like 1.2 acres of land, and we want to turn it into another creative space. The only problem we have right now is they're selling it as is. It looks pretty good from just from walking around through it and having my agent do some investigation for me. But the seller wanted to confirm 2 things. 1, the purchaser of our property, they wanted to make sure that they had the funds, the loan approved to buy our property. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, we're doing cash deals. Like the buyer I'm working with is doing a cash deal. We're literally waiting on the environmental inspection to be done for the septic tank on the land in North Carolina, and then we can close. So it's the only hold that we're waiting on. As soon as the environmental sounds off, we have our money, right? But then the next thing is said, hey, I want you to know that this is on well water and septic. And my business partner has a horror story about a septic tank. So it's literally the perfect property at the perfect price. We'll be able to buy it free and clear, no mortgage. And now we have that small hurdle. So now the thing is, what do we do, right? So what's the next step? Because with 1031 exchange, there is a time limit. You have to move relatively quickly. Yeah. So now the struggle we're having now is identifying other properties that fall within the profit we're going to get, because the main focus is to get a property as close to free and clear as possible, because we want to do 2 things at once. We want to be able to have high equity in the property, but also maximize on our cash flow. Right now, we can use that as a down payment and get something, for a lot of money, but that's not the strategy that we're looking at right now, because we still have this property to maintain. We still have to get up and going. So it's kind of like 2 things are balancing at one time. We have to make the best decision possible. So not much of a horror story, but it's trying to find something that we can have full equity in when we get it. Yeah. Because once we get full equity in that, then we all know of birth strategy, other strategy we have around real estate. We can take those profits and be able to further invest in more. So I eventually want to get into residential real estate, but right now commercial is kind of what I like to do.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Did you buy this outright?
No, not outright. I wish.
How do you cash flow in this particular building?
So we haven't fully opened yet. So our max cash flow, we haven't even reached that just yet. We're still doing a renovation phase. But what I like about commercial versus residential, when we look at residential, it's not a knock for residential, but you're capped at how much money you can make because you're based on market rents. So if for a property that's of similar type in the similar zip code or similar area is going for a certain rent price, you don't have too much variance outside of either above or below that, right?
Unless you Airbnb.
Unless you Airbnb, it short term changes the game, of course. Yeah. But for commercial and the business model that we have set up that we plan to implement once we go live, our earning potential is essentially uncapped.
Right, because it's event space, right?
Yeah,
so they're
it's flexible space.
That's my next venture.
We gonna talk. Don't give them all the game though.
All right,
so
I call Hood. I said, "No, probably." I said, "Think event space."
That's all it takes. Because you're able to charge a premium, or even not so much of a premium, but if you can get the repetitions down. Your cash flow potential is pretty much unlimited.
Davis like that. He ain't got with Mr. 2 Weeks Out too.
Circle of CEOs.
Davis, Circle of CEOs.
I want to get into residential, but I like the benefit of having commercial just because. Yeah. And then also location plays a role. Like, especially if we want to get into an event space where we are here, outside of business hours, we're the only ones like within a 2-block radius. Wow. So we can pretty much lock the block down without having any issues. So I want to stay in commercial. If this closing allows me to do that, allows us to do that, then we'll stay in commercial. But if we have to go residential, we will as well.
Did you go to Virginia State?
No, I went to VCU.
VCU.
So here's the thing. Once we fully open, I plan on being heavily involved with Virginia State. We've had one photographer from Virginia State.
Right
here. Yeah, we've had one photographer from Virginia State already in here, and he's like, "Look, this place is dope. And whenever you're ready,
I like this place, man. It's nice.
Whenever you're ready to go live, let's do it." So we need to talk for sure, man, because we wanna be the spot,
bro. Here. This is what community is about. You see how he already pivoted. Like, have you been talking to Virginia State? He went to Virginia State. He already trying to put the synergies together on building bridges, and I gotta appreciate you and Billy for pulling up, Rodney. Sure. You too, Billy.
For sure.
Because y'all gave us both the mountains and the peaks, or mountains and valleys of being fathers and being entrepreneurs. And you didn't have to do that, and you did, so I appreciate that. But for those that may be watching, this is what community look like. Find ways to create connectivity with other people. This is not competition at all. This is not competition. There's enough wins for everybody to win. Mm-hmm. And so I just really appreciate y'all pulling up.
Having us, man.
For real. My guy for pulling up. It's a wrap, man.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Somebody's Son podcast. We encourage you to share this episode with a friend. And remember, on this path called life, you are not alone. Thank you for watching. Until next time.
She like the way that I finessed her. She stared so long, she let me know.